the Ibanez QX54QM. Is it a great guitar or does it suck? Let's find out. So as you can see, this is a headless guitar. It is very light, which is great. The body is made of Naota, I believe it's pronounced, with a maple top. I'll talk about that in a few minutes. It's got a roasted maple fingerboard, which is actually pretty sweet. And the neck itself is also roasted maple with a center stripe of Bubinga. As you can see, there are two single coil pickups in the neck and center positions. There's a humbucker in the bridge position. And speaking of the bridge is a single combination unit of bridge and tuners. Works really well. There's a single volume control, a single tone control, and a pickup selector system that allows you to have 9 different unique pickup combinations. And did I mention the frets? Oh yes, there are 24 of them. It's some kind of gold-colored fret wire, looks pretty cool, and the frets are slanted. Now, slanted frets, does that mean that this is a multi-scale guitar? It's not being marketed as such, at least that I can tell. However, I did measure the scale length. And on the treble side, the high E string, the scale length on this particular guitar is about 25 1/4 inches in length. On the bass side, the low E string, the scale length is a full 25 1/2 inches. All right, let's get down to some sounds. I've got a clean tone dialed up, and here is the neck pickup by itself. Yeah, it's a very clean sound. Yeah, it's very clear. It's got a very full frequency response. If you listen to that again. All right, if I do turn the tone knob all the way down, though, it's quite effective. All right, let's try the next position. This is the neck and the center pickup together. I'm actually not out of tune. You probably heard those out of tune strings. That was me pushing strings around. That's actually one of the cool things about the guitar too that I'm still learning is I think it's with the slanted frets and just the position that you really have to play to be comfortable on this guitar. It lends itself to like weird bending and phrasing. It's kind of cool. Of course, I might try heavier strings too and maybe even down tune a little bit. All right, let's try just the middle pickup by itself. Position number 4 is kind of interesting. It's the middle pickup with the split humbucker added in. Yeah, very kind of a thin sound, isn't it? And finally, here is the bridge pickup all by itself. Yeah, again, for some folks, this might be a little bit of a sterile sounding pickup. Right? So if you're in a blues bar playing smoky blues on an old Fender amp or something like this might not be the right guitar for you. But if you're processing these tones with lots of effects, it can be really helpful. So let me go ahead and turn on a delay real quick with the bridge pickup itself. Not so bad. And I'm going to turn down the tone knob just a bit to mellow it out. Kind of a nice tone. So I feel like this guitar provides a neutral tonal platform, if that makes sense, where you can then manipulate it with effects and EQs and things like that. So far, this guitar seems pretty cool, doesn't it? It sounds really interesting. I think it sounds great, actually. It plays like a dream, this neck. Oh, man, it feels great. There are, however, a few things that I don't really like about the guitar. I think you should know about them. The first thing is the maple top itself. It is being marketed as a maple top, and to me, that means a maple cap, kind of like a Les Paul, where the maple's going to be 1/8 to maybe 1/4 of an inch thick even. This maple top, it's not really a top, it's a maple veneer. It's extremely thin. And while it looks great, I doubt that it's contributing to the overall tone of the guitar. Thing number 2 that I don't like is also in regards to the top. There are actually some finish flaws visible here where the edges of the veneer meet the main wood of the body. And, you know, if you're playing this on stage and people are at least 2 feet away, maybe 3 feet away, no one's going to notice. But I think that the shading of the bluish top into kind of that reddish rust color of the body itself could have been a little bit cleaner. All right, thing number 3, it's kind of a big thing, at least for this particular guitar. It came with a loose tone knob. There, you can hear it rattling there. It works fine, but obviously I need to take the actual knob off and tighten up the nut on the post. Well, guess what? I have tried to take that that knob off, and it ain't coming off. I'm actually going to call my retailer up and ask them what to do about it. So I think quality control is a bit of an issue. Number 4 on the no likey list is this headstock. So the tuners obviously are on the bridge itself and they work great. So on the headstock, instead of tuners, you have a set of locks. And what you do is pull the string up from the bridge, push it through the locking mechanism, crank it down, and that holds the string in place. That part's great. The problem is, I can see coming when I have to change the strings, is that once you pull the string through and lock it, you have to cut the string off with a pair of wire cutters or needle nose pliers, whatever you might have. And there's hardly any room to do that. I predict that this headstock is going to get marked up pretty quickly when I start changing strings and cutting off the string ends. Number 5 on my list is the gig bag. You know, it's functional, but it is actually pretty cheap. I paid almost $1,100 for this guitar. And yeah, it's great they gave me a gig bag, but I think it should have been a much higher quality, along the lines of perhaps the kind of gig bags that PRS sends out with their guitars. All right, so those are the things I don't like. There are a few things that I found kind of humorous. One is the guitar came with a tag that says cancer and reproductive harm. And there's the p65warnings.ca.gov site you're supposed to look at. Apparently, if you play this guitar too loud, it could damage your reproductive system. Not a big deal for me because all my kids are grown and I actually have some grandchildren, but for you younger, oh, I'm just kidding. Number 2 on the funny side is the owner's manual that comes in that gig bag. It has nothing to do with this guitar. It's an Ibanez guitar manual, but all the instructions are for some other guitar and not this one. And finally, on my list of humorous things about this guitar is the name itself. The QX54QM BSM. What the heck is that? This should be called like, the Rings of Saturn, or something like that. Something we can remember. I mean, QX54QM, what the heck is that? Let me know what you think about this guitar, whether you've played one or just kind of seen it and heard it. What are your thoughts? Drop me a comment below, and also here's a playlist of other guitar reviews I've done here on the channel. See all of you over there.